In today's lesson, we're going to learn the notes on the A string, how to use our fine tuner to tune the A string, and at the very end of the video, we'll learn our first song. Welcome back. Welcome to the studio, everybody. My name is Cassie, and I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. I hope these videos will serve as a guide to the beginners who are just learning viola or for the more experienced player. So today's topic, we're going to learn what to do with our left hand, how to put it onto the string to make different notes, and the correct position for that. So if you remember from last lesson, we talked about rest position. So let's find rest position first. And I want you to hold up your left hand. So we have two really important contact points here. The pad of my thumb and the base of my pointer finger. So I'm going to take my left hand, and it's kind of in that L shape, and I'm going to place it again in rest position on that upper bout. And in rest position, I'm going to kind of slide back and forth between where the bout is and where the peg box is. This is going to help prepare us for shifting later, but it's also really helpful to get our left hand in the correct position. As you're sliding, I want you to notice if your thumb is on the pad. So we want to be on that first joint. That's what should be contacting the neck. And then double check that your pointer finger is contacting at the base. Usually people have a line there, so we want to be right on that line. And as we're sliding, we're going to go all the way down to where the peg box is. We call this first position. And I want you to take your fingers on the fingertips, so the very tip of the finger, and we're going to place those on the A string. And it's also really helpful to look at your string to make sure that you're landing correctly. Take note that your thumb should be opposite your pointer finger, or kind of in between your first and second finger when it goes down. So let's go back to rest position again. Slide back to first position. Check your pointer finger position and your thumb position, and then rest those fingers on the A string. So the usable fingers that we have are these four, and we call them as such. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So pointer is first, second, third, and fourth finger. And we're primarily going to use the first 3 fingers today. So if I go back to rest position, and then find playing position, I'm going to slide my hand back down to where the peg box is, but I'm not going to go all the way to the end of the peg box. I'm going to be just a little bit in front of it. I'm going to tap my thumb to make sure it's on the pad, and I'm going to double check that my pointer finger is at the base of that finger, so where the hand, where your palm meets the finger. If I put my first finger down on the fingertip, that's the note B. So our open string is A, first finger is B. My second finger is going to go down, not touching my first finger, so there's space between them, and that's C sharp. And then my third finger will touch my second finger. They should be pegged right together, and that's D. So I'm going to drop my hand, go to rest position, slide down to first position, check my thumb, check my pointer finger. So with my first finger down, I want to feel like when I push it into the string, I'm kind of squishing into a marshmallow. We don't want to be squeezing, we don't want to be pushing super hard, just kind of gently squeeze into that marshmallow. So with your first finger depressed, we're going to take your plucking hand, plant your thumb at the end of the fingerboard, rest it on the A string, and we're going to gently pluck. So 3 B's. Now, some common problems you may run into. If you're plucking and you get this sound, you're not quite squished into the string enough with your left hand. So squish into that marshmallow a little bit more. Let's go back to rest position. So my first finger was B. We're going to talk about second finger now, which is C sharp. And all of these letter names that we're assigning to the notes, this is our musical language. So we only have 7 letters, so now A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And we're starting with open A string. We put our first finger down for B, and now we've got C sharp. And sharp just means higher, so we've raised the pitch. If it was C natural, my 1 and 2 would be touching, but my 1 and 2 are not touching, so it's C sharp. So let's go back to playing position. Slide your way back to first position. Remember, it's not right against the peg box, it's a little bit above. We're going to put my first finger down on the fingertip, double check my thumb is on the pad, and I'm going to set my second finger not touching my first finger. Again, if you're getting That kind of sound, you just have to squish into that string a little bit more. Don't squeeze. Great. Back to rest position. So we've got first finger B, second finger C sharp, and now we want third finger, which is going to touch. So 2 and 3 touch, 1 does not. So let's go back to playing position. Slide down to first position. Check my thumb pad and my contact point. Set my first finger on the tip. Set my second finger away from my first finger, and then set my third finger touching the second finger. This is our note D. One thing that might affect the pitch of your notes is if your string is in tune. So if your A string has not been tuned, even if you put your fingers in the right place, it's not going to sound correct. So I'm going to untune my A string with my fine tuner. And basically what your fine tuners are just screws. So if I tighten the screw or if I go clockwise, it'll make the pitch go higher. If I loosen the screw or go counterclockwise, it makes the pitch lower. So I'm going to put a split screen up with a tuner, and I'm going to show you what happens as I pluck and it's low and then it goes higher as I turn. So here's my untuned string. So in playing position, I'm going to bring my left hand under the instrument over to the very top tuning peg, fine tuner, and I'm going to turn it clockwise to make it higher. Let's see what that did to the pitch. Not quite there, so let's try that again. Let's make it higher. Not quite there yet. Getting closer. That's correct. So if your A string doesn't sound like it's quite right, or you're not even sure if it's quite right, use the online tuner that I have linked below. That's going to be really helpful. So if it registers or if it reads a pitch that's not A, you need to tune it. If it says G, it's too low. If it says A sharp or B, it's too high. So you can use your fine tuner to adjust accordingly. So let's review those fingers again, and then we're going to play our first song. Let's go to playing position. Slide your hand back to first position. Pluck your open A string. Set that first finger down on the fingertip. Check your contact points. B. Second finger on the fingertip away from the first finger. They should not be touching. And then third finger set right next to your second finger. So we've got the notes A, B, C sharp, and D, and we can play a lot of songs with just 4 notes. So the first song that we're going to learn is Hot Cross Buns, and you may remember this maybe from a general music class. I don't know anybody that's actually sang Hot Cross Buns before. It is an actual song, so we're going to learn that first. So let's go back to playing position, and we need to start with 2 fingers down. So I don't want these fingers that we're not using to be curled up into a ball. They should be just kind of hanging out there. Double check. Your wrist is nice and straight. Your thumb is contacting on the pad right across from your first finger. You've got that contact point at the base of your pointer finger, and your first finger's down on the tip. Then I'm going to set my second finger away from that finger. This is C sharp, so we're going to play C sharp once. Peel that 2 away, but leave your 1 down to play B, and then all fingers off to play A. Then I'm going to plop those 2 fingers down together. So I didn't climb up, I plopped them down together. And I'm going to double check, am I on the fingertip? Is my thumb still released and not squeezing the neck? I'm going to do that again. So C sharp, 2, B, 1, open A. Plop your 2, C sharp, B, A. Then we need 4 A's in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Freeze. Set your first finger. Double check that you're not squeezing. Your wrist is nice and straight. It's not bucked out. It's not collapsed against the neck. Nice and straight. Then we need 4 first finger B's. Then set your second finger again. 2, C sharp, 1, B, open A. So I hope that wasn't too difficult. We're going to do the whole song, no stops, but I will say the fingers before we play them. Hopefully that's helpful. So back to playing position. Slide down to first position. Set your plucking finger on the end of the fingerboard. Double check that your thumb is tapped on the pad, your pointing fingers contacting the neck. Set 2 fingers, not touching, and we'll begin. Ready? Go. 2, 1, open. Plop 2, ready, go. 1, open. 4 A's, go. Set 1, set 2, 1, open. So that's our first song, and you can actually use the same exact fingers on any string. The note names will be different, but it's the same song. So that's it for our second lesson. I hope that you found this enjoyable and fun. If you're having any trouble with anything, make sure you comment below because I do read those and I will definitely reach out and try to help you virtually as best I can. If you still haven't gotten a shoulder rest, I'm going to include the links for shoulder rest that I recommend as well below. And until then, I will see you for our next lesson where we're going to learn another new song.